Good day. I'm Menachem Avichael for Trust in Hashem. Today is the first day of May in the year 2026 by the Gregorian calendar. It's the 14th day of Iyar in the year 5786 by the Torah calendar. It's also the 29th day of the Omer. Today, this week, this Shabbos, we're going to be reading Parsha Emor. Basically, the Parsha starts out continuing the other previous Parsha, a couple Parshas, talking about how the process really of how we keep ourselves from impurity to purity, the different things that we have to do, sacrifices, the mikvahs, all these things that are necessary to keep ourselves in a pure state, a holy state. As Hashem says, I am holy, therefore thou shalt be holy. That's our charge. Now, I would like to, today is mainly about chapter 23 in verse 5. In the first month, that's the month of Aviv, or Nisan as a lot of people call it, in the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at dusk, is the Passover before the Lord. We're talking about the Korban Pesach. On the 15th day of this month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread before the Lord. Eat unleavened bread for 7 days. Now, why am I actually bringing that up? Well, approximately, I would say it's probably now about, that'd be 11, that'd be 12, about maybe 1,200 years ago, Amram Gaon, he was the first one in Babylon. He was really the first person to put together a full Haggadah. And then, approximately 1,100 years ago, Sadagion, he put the finishing touches on it. Every single Haggadah that we have today, if it's a kosher, so to speak, Haggadah, it's based on these two rabbis, these two Gaons, on what they wrote as the basic idea of this is what we should say on, doing the Passover Seder. Now, I want you to take a look at this Haggadah that I have here. If you notice at the very top, there's a word there. See the word remember, right? In reality, we're not doing the Passover. We can't do the Korban Passover, the 14th day at dusk. We can't do that. Why? Well, as you well know, we don't have the temple, the third temple in this particular case. Now, truth is, we actually don't need the temple to do the Korban Pesach. However, we do need to know the exact, and I mean the exact location of where the temple is going to be, and then we can do the Korban Pesach either in it, next to it, but we have to know where the temple's at in order to be able to do the Korban Pesach, which is the reason why we're not doing it nowadays. We don't know the exact location. Now, even if all the rabbis that are alive today, all the greatest Torah scholars that are alive today, they all got together and say, oh, we think it's over here, doesn't matter. They don't have the authority to do that kind of thing. They do not have the authority to say that's where the temple goes. There's nobody alive today that has the authority to do that, because there's only one entity that has that kind of authority. According to the Torah law, Hashem only gave that kind of power to the Sanhedrin. Moses was the very first, the 70 plus 1, Moses was the first one. He passed it on to Joshua. On down the line until about the year 425 when true smicha ended. We actually don't have true smicha today. So we have to figure out a way to try and restart the Sanhedrin in order to be able to do the Korban Pesach. So when we do the Passover Seder, we should be saying, and this is what we do, this is a remembrance of the lamb shank, is the remembrance of, and all these other things that we have on the Seder plate, they're all remembrance of the different things that took place. we're not doing actually Passover. What we're actually doing is Hag HaMatzos, the holiday of matzos. We can't do the Korban Pesach because we don't have the temple. Hopefully, that will come about someday. But in the meantime, you should always keep in mind, before you do your Seder, right? Before you do your Passover Seder, you should always have in mind that what you're doing is the remembrance of the Passover sacrifice, the Passover holiday. That's a remembrance of it. Remember, we're in Hag HaMatzos. We're not actually in Passover. I'm Menachem Avichal for trust in Hashem. May Hashem give us the strength, the knowledge to reform the Sanhedrin. May we be worthy of the third temple being rebuilt, and especially being worthy of having the Mashiach come. Thank you. Have a good Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom.